and I started just the recording, so it will be recorded for use at a later time, okay, in case somebody wants to review it, and I hope you do review it. Now, you always feel free to ask me questions, especially when I start sharing my screen. When I share my screen, sometimes I cannot see the comments, so speak when you need to speak and you need to say something. Now, any questions before we start? You can speak. I prefer if you speak over writing, but you can write whatever you like. Any questions, concerns, anything like that? I hear clicks, so I'm not sure. Okay, so let me tell you exactly what's happening before I start. We know we are going through this difficult time, and we know that whatever we say today, it may change tomorrow. And that's the reason. Let me go back to my class. I send you an email, then I updated the email, then I updated the email. So I keep updating my email. And in one of my previous emails a few days back, I asked you to write me comments about the live lectures and whatever you think. And I get some feedback from students who told me that when they received the email from the college about the courses becoming online, they went and adjusted their work schedule to work during class time. And therefore, it is not possible for them to attend the class during the live lecture. And it's unfair of me to take away points for attendance. And I understand that 100%. And my job and my goal and my intention is not to penalize you, but to benefit you. And as a result, I just decided, after reading the comments this morning before I went on this live lecture, that attendance to the live lectures is optional. I'm going to record the live lectures, and it's up to you to watch it. Now, if you like to come to the live lecture, it's great. If you like to go to watch the videos afterwards, it's great too. Okay? I'm not going to burden you. We have enough things to worry about, and hopefully everything will be getting better. Let's pray for that. Anyhow, I want you to see what I'm going to show you right now, because this is where you're going to be, you will be able to access my recorded lectures. I'm just going to open my Blackboard and show you how we access that. First of all, you go to Blackboard as you go to your classes as usual, and under My Courses, you click down there, and you're going to find the course that, in my case, don't pay attention to mine. In my case, I have lots of courses. But in your case, just find the course, which is Math 213, click on it, and that will take you to this window. I'm going to switch to the student view, and I just show you what you're going to see. Now, when you are in the student view, there is in the menu on the left side, there is a link called Web Meetings. If you click on the Web Meetings, you will be able to see this window here. Do not click on any of those links, okay? You don't have to click on those links because they're not going to take you anywhere. To access the recorded videos, you see what it says, the 3 lines in the top there I'm pointing to, it says menu. Can you confirm, anybody? By voice.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. When you click on the menu there, you will see a new menu where it says recordings. Click on the recordings there, and then you're going to see all the videos up to date. And I want you to start the videos from the bottom up, not from the top down, because if we count up here, video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those 7 videos are from chapter 6, which is homework 5 and test 5. Now, when I record the lecture today, I'll add it to that list later on. Okay, now do look at chapter 7 because this is for the next assignment. But I want you to watch those videos from now on. And I want you today, if you can watch them all, because look at this, the videos are not long, like 7 minutes, 10 minutes. So it is all together, they don't add up to one lecture face to face. So look at those videos. Then, as I said, I'm going to move into doing the homework soon. So after the live lecture today, later on today, I'm going to try to do homework problems. I'm going to record the solution to all the homework problems and post it there too. So this way, this will help you when you go to do your homework. But again, if you want to access my videos, as I said, you go to the web meetings in here and you click on the menu and you click on recordings and you're going to find them there. That's the way to find the recorded videos. That's the only way to find them. Let me go back now to our class. Any questions before I move on? Now, you don't have to speak. You can mute your microphone at all times. But if you want to speak, you know, like let's say you have children or you have barking dogs or something like that, you don't want anybody to hear that. And I really don't want to hear a barking dog. So just click on the microphone and silence that. But if you want to speak, just turn it on and feel free anytime to speak. You know, I like to hear your voice. I don't want to be the only one talking because I feel like I'm talking to myself. Another thing is there is a camera in there. Now, we don't need the camera at all. So if you want me to see your picture, it's feel free, turn it on. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. So for a split second here, I'm going to turn my picture or the camera on just to show you myself lately. So this is my picture, if you can see it. And you can tell I'm not shaving. So you don't have to turn your camera on. But if you want to turn your camera on, it's your choice. Now, I turn my camera off right now. So let me go on and start my lecture. But again, before I start, any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. I mean, if anyone else has a question, I'm gonna pause for a few seconds. And you know what I'm pausing, doing what? Drinking my coffee. You know the bad thing about teaching online is, you know, you say a joke or something, you think it's funny and nobody smiles. Anyhow, let's go into the lecture. So what are we gonna do? Look how we're gonna share the window. This is gonna be beautiful and you're gonna like it. And I wanna create some, thank you. So Kylie is nice to respond. Anyhow, I'm gonna create as much as it possible, create an environment similar to the classroom. And that's the reason why I want you to speak when you need to, because that will make it real. What I'm gonna do in here is I'm gonna share my screen in here. And by the way, I can share the screen and I can still see your comments. I'll try my best to see your comments. Okay, here. So in here, I'm going to be able to write, and you will be able to see everything I write. And also, I'll be able to open StatCrunch, and I'll show you how we do StatCrunch. So it's like similar to writing on a whiteboard, and you are standing behind me or sitting behind me and listening to everything I say. So again, please stop me and ask me questions. Turn your microphone on and say something if you see something you don't understand. Now,
I have a question really quick. Is it possible for, I did not open StatCrunch yet. I just don't want to miss anything.
you know, I will be opening StatCrunch, but if you want to open StatCrunch, you know, you can split the screen.
Okay.
You don't have to split screen.
I don't. I'm very, I'm
Okay.
not so good with technology.
Let me show you how I'm going to split screen right now. You see those two squares in the top, what I'm pointing to?
Yes.
In the corner next to the X? Now that will make me split screen, right?
Okay.
So now let's say that you want to open StatCrunch and you're using Google. So go to Firefox and log into your your course, which is mystatlab.com. Again, I'm going to open Firefox, and I'm going to also split the screen. So I'm going to now put them side by side. You know how to resize the window?
Yes.
Okay, so now in the search engine for Firefox, you can just put in there anything you want and look for it, and just search whatever you want.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, so and this will have the two screens side by side. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, let's just I mean, if you have any questions, feel free, please ask me. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to go a little bit overall why do we do this. By the way, my recorded videos that I put, which is 6 already, they discuss those things in detail, so please go there and watch them. But let me go in here in chapter 6. Okay, our goal is to estimate the statistics parameter. In this case, we care about two things. We care about the mean and we care about the proportion. There's two things we care about, and we try to estimate that. And the reason why we try to estimate is because physically we cannot find the true value. Notice that sometimes our populations are very large. And I'm just mentioning 3 examples in here. Like all of Owen's students, we know we have lots of Owens at students. I'm sorry, lots of Owens at students, lots of students at Owens. That's a joke. Now, we have lots of students at Owens. I don't know, could be 2,000, 3,000, 7,000, I don't know. And there is no way I can go and survey all of them. And we know, we talked about this many times. So many reasons why we cannot. So there are so many women in the US between the age of 18 to 22. And there is no way I can go and survey all of them. There are lots of people who vote in the millions, and there is no way I can go before the election and ask them who they're going to vote for. And because of those obstacles, okay, we cannot find the true value of the, in this case, if we are talking about the mean, we cannot find mu. If we talk about the proportion, we cannot find p. So what is the solution? The solution in here is to estimate. The solution in here is it's better than not to know is to estimate. And we have 2 choices. One choice is to guess. And our guess can be a wild guess, not scientific guess. And that is not worth anything in statistics. So the best thing to do next to the true thing, which is to use a sample and come up with something called educated guess. So the sample usually delivers something. It is a guess, but it is not just any guess. It is a guess that is close to the truth. Now, so we're going to use samples and we're going to try to estimate whatever we're trying to look for. So if we're trying to find the mean, the true mean, we're going to try to use a sample to guide us to the truth, which is the mean. If you are going after a proportion, we're going to try to find a sample to take us closer to the proportion. And this is our goal in here. Notice something in statistics. A sample will give you a result, and the true mean is something else. Now, there is something in statistics called sampling error. A sampling error is always the result you get from your sample minus the result of the true value. So let me give you an example here. Let's say that somebody told you, I want you to go, let's say that I know and you don't know. Let's say that I know that the average age of all of Owen's students is, let's say, 26. Now, in this case, I'm trying to tell you here, mu is equal to 26. Because we talk about all. You don't know that, I know that. So I told you this, and I want you to go and find the average age of all of Owen's students. There is no way you know it is 26. You can guess it's 26, and you may guess it is 21 or 22 or 30. So the best thing you can do is you can go and do a survey. So let's say that you went and did a survey and surveyed, let's say, 100 students and came up with 24. Now, your result is different from the truth. And there is something called sampling error. The sampling error is x bar minus mu. In this case, it's going to be 24 minus 26, which is equal to -2. Now, the native here is very important because the native here, it says that you are underestimating. So you are doing an underestimate. You are underestimating the mean by 2. Now, remember, the sampling error can be positive or negative, and it's always x bar minus mu. So if it is positive, this means you are overestimating. If it's negative, you are underestimating. So this is what we call the sampling error. And I think there is number 2 on your homework. There is a question about sampling error. So the sampling error is always x bar minus mu. That is the sampling error. But the sampling error is very hard to come up with, because to find the sampling error, you have to know the mean and the mean of all. And the mean of all is not possible. Therefore, the sampling error is not a possible thing. We just mention it, but it's not a possible thing most of the time. So this is what we do in statistics. If somebody is asking us to estimate something, we never, ever, ever give a single number, single answer. So what we really do is we come up with what we call an interval. We come up with a range to include what they are asking us to find. Because I think I mentioned this in one of my classes, but I ask you to guess my weight exactly, there is a chance that all of you will get it wrong. But if I tell you to guess my age within a range, then there is a great chance many of you will get it right. And the bigger the allowable range I give you, the bigger the chance of getting it right. So in this case, we try to come up with a confidence interval. And that is what we do in science. In science, we don't give, we never predict something exactly, but we predict within a range. So let me give you this example. And this is the example here. It says a study says that we are 95% confident. So this 95% is what we call the C. Confident that the mean GPA of the freshman class at a university or college is between 2.47 to 3.43. In other words, we don't know really what is the mean GPA. Because to be able to find the mean GPA, I have to talk to every single student, look at their records, and find that number. But we came up with an interval. That interval is going to give us the range. So notice that this interval is a little bit large. What we are saying in here is that this is what we call, I'm sorry?
Some people are having troubles. I don't know. He's like, I'm just touching him. No, because he's all.
I can hear somebody speaking that she cannot hear, but I don't know who it is. So anybody? Let me type in here. If you can't hear me, oops, if I know how to write. I'm gonna pause for a second here because I hear people talking that they cannot hear me. Okay, let me go back. So let me go back to my notes here. So we were told that the lower limit is 2.47, the upper limit is 3.43. And we were told that the true mean, mu, is somewhere in that here. So we are in chase of the true mean, mu. We don't know what it is, but we are told it is within that range. Notice that this range is really big range. Okay. Now, from this range, I know there is somewhere center in there. And that center is X bar. How did we come up with this range? The people who do this study, the people who did this study, okay, Hannah cannot hear me. So check the volume on your computer. Anyhow, so let's go back in here. In this case, what those people did is they did a study, and based on this study, they came up with this intervals. From this study, I can tell that the mean is the center, and we know that the center is always average. So the X bar is always the average, which is equal to adding the lower limit, which is 2.47, and the upper limit, which is 3.43, and divide by 2. And if we do this math, this is going to be 5.9 divide by 2, and this is going to be 2.95. So this means the center of this survey is 2.95. In other words, the people who came up with this survey, they were able to come up with a mean, which is 2.95. Based on that mean, they were able to build the interval. Notice that there is a difference between the lower limit and upper limit. We call that difference error. You can go left or you can go right. So the error in this case, is equal to you can do it either way. You can go and say it's 2.95 minus 2.47, or somebody can say it is equal to 3.43 minus 2.95. Either way, the error is going to come up to be 0.4. And notice that the error is always, always, always positive. Notice that we're not talking about sampling error. In this case, we're talking about something called margin of error. So the margin of error is always right, because the margin of error is not dealing with the true mean. The margin of error is measuring two things that we know: the lower limit and the sample mean, or the upper limit and the sample mean. Notice that this margin of error is large, which is like 48%. We said that this interval is a very large interval. Yes, I'm gonna respond to Hannah here. Again, excuse me for doing that the first class, but we need to make sure everybody is working on this. Please use Google Chrome. We want to make sure everybody is using Google Chrome. Now, if you are using Google Chrome, that should be okay. So if you're not using Google Chrome and you can hear me, that's great. If you cannot hear me, switch to Google Chrome. Okay? So again, please use Google Chrome always. Okay? Let's go back. So this is how we find the error. We can find the error if we have the interval. And there's some homework problems. In those homework problems, they give you the interval already. So they give you an interval and they ask you to find the error, and they ask you to find the center or the sample mean. So this is how we find that if we have an interval. But the question will be, how do we build the intervals? So this is what we're going to move to next. How do we build those intervals? And to build intervals, I'm going to move into this slide in here. Now, to build intervals for chapter 6, actually we have 3 sections: 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3. Now in 6.1 and 2, we're talking about mean. In 6.3, we're going to talk about a proportion. So in 6.1 and 2, this is 6.1 and this is 6.2. In 6.1, the difference between the two, both of them about the mean, the difference between the two is sigma. Sigma is the population standard deviation. If the population standard deviation is known or given, we use the Z method. If the population standard deviation is not given, we're going to use the T method. So let's stick with the first section 1 for now, for this lecture, and try to answer this. Now, are you still able to hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, how do we find the confidence interval using or for the mean using the Z method? Now, again, Z method is always used when sigma is known. So the first thing we do is we find the margin of error by hand. Remember, it's not going to be given to you. You're going to find the margin of error. So to find the margin of error, you follow those steps. You find Z critical. You multiply it by sigma over radical n. Notice that you will be given at all times, you will be given sigma, and you will be given n. Because in this section, we're saying sigma is given. So sigma will be given and n will be given, because you'll be told Steve surveyed 70 people or 50 people or 30 people. So those are not secrets. Now, you're not going to be given Z, but you're going to be given C. And if you are given C, follow those steps. And those steps will allow you to find the Z critical. If you follow those steps, the Z critical will appear here. Because you're going to go to StatCrunch or to the back of the book, but I prefer StatCrunch. And you're going to use stat, calculators, normal, between, and always remember to put between. Those two numbers, 0 and 1, will be filled for you. You don't have to fill anything. And the last thing, you go in there and you're going to fill the C. Notice that C will be given. So when you fill the C in, that will give you the Z critical. The minute you know Z critical, you just use a calculator, Z critical, times the sigma, which is given, over radical n, which is given, and you're going to get the error. Okay? So let me show you an example how to find the error and how to build the interval both ways, by hand and using StatCrunch. So here's an example. In this example here, I'm trying to show, it talks about, let's say that somebody is interested in finding the mean income of school, and by the way, the mean income of not just school teachers, all school teachers in Toledo, Ohio. So somebody's interested in the average or mean income of all school teachers in Toledo, Ohio, all of them. Notice that you cannot just go to all of them and ask them the question, because some of them will not answer the question. Some of them will not, you cannot even find them. You don't know where they live. So what we do in here, we do what we call a random. We're going to do is something called random survey. So we go and do a random survey of 50 teachers. That 50 in this case represents n, the people, how many we survey. And let's say that after surveying the 50, we find that the mean, notice that because the mean comes from 50, not all teachers, we're going to call that X bar. And this is what we call sample mean. So the sample mean is 52,670. And let's assume that somebody told us, assume that the population standard deviation is 4,900. Notice that this is, it says in here population. Population means sigma. So the sigma is given. If sigma is given, we're going to use the Z critical. So how do we find the interval? I'm going to show you how we do it by hand, then I'm going to move a switch to StatCrunch and show you how faster it is with StatCrunch. But if I want to use the work by hand, I have the first thing I have to find a Z critical. What is Z critical? To find Z critical, those are the, let me slide, oops. Let me slide up and show you the steps. To find the Z criticals, those are the steps in here. I'm going to circle them with this highlighter. Those are the steps to find the Z critical. Let me open StatCrunch in here and show you how we use it. Let me minimize my window. This way you can see both ways. I'm going to slide this to the side. Close this. Close this. I'm going to go in here and follow those steps that I just showed you. The first thing is I'm going to press the stat. Again, follow those steps in here. I'm going to do the stat. Then I'm going to go to calculators. Then I'm going to go to normal. And I'm going to press between as instructed in here. The mean and standard deviation, don't touch them. Just go to the last box and in there and fill in the value of the confidence level. Now the question in here didn't give me really a confidence level to work with. So let's assume And let's use, let me just use a regular marker here. Let's use C equal to, let's say, 98%. Okay? Because without C, I cannot get the Z critical. So if C is 98%, let me go back in here. If C is 98%, I'm going to just type in there 0.98. So I'm going to put 0.98. And I think I put too many points. 98. I'm typing 0.98 in there, as you see in here. I put the C in and I compute, and look at this. Here's the value. I'm highlighting the value. So from here, I'm going to be able to see my Z critical. My Z critical is going to be equal to 2.3263. Now, the minute you find the Z critical, everything else will become so easy, because the error, by definition, is Z critical times sigma over radical of n. And again, let me just go back and show you this here. If we go back, we said this earlier, and it is here, that the error is equal to Z critical sigma over radical n. So if I go down in here and I just use substitution, the error will be Z critical, which is 2.3263 times sigma is 4,900 over radical n, which is radical of 50, because they told us they surveyed 50 people. Now I'm going to use my calculator to come up with this answer. I have a graphing calculator. Some of you probably do have a graphing calculator. Some of you have basic calculator. Just do whatever you can. And in here, let me just slide it up this way. We can see it, we can use it, we can whatever. I made it too large in here. Okay. Sorry for this. Okay, so we're going to start in here, turn the calculator on, clear everything in here. I'm going to go to 2.3263. And again, multiply it by 4,900. I know to many of you this is an easy task, but I'm just showing you that with a graphing calculator, you just go from left to right, divide by the square root of 50. And based on this, it gave me 6. Let me just go to the nearest whole number. So it gave me 1612. 1612. That is my error. That is my margin of error. So if this is my margin of error, I can go and continue here and say, okay, here's my center. My center from the survey, and if you remember the survey, X bar is 52,670. So this is 62,570. Again, it is here. 52,670. 52, not 62. I wrote the wrong number. So let me shrink it here for you to see it. Here is the X bar, which is 52,670. And we know that the error is equal to 1612. So if you go to the left, you subtract. If you go to the right, you add. So in here, the left will be equal to 52,670 minus 1612. And the right will be 52,670 plus the 1612. And if you do the math in the left and right, you should get the answer. So let me just do it on a regular calculator. 52,670 minus 1612, that's going to give me a total of 51. So this is going to be 51,058. That is the left limit. And the right limit is 52,670 plus 1612. And it's going to be 54,282. That is the right limit. So as a result in here, I can come back and say, listen, I came up with this interval. The interval is 51,058 and 54,282. So in this case, I can claim the following. By the way, don't forget and don't lose track of this. I'm trying to find the mean all. What is the average? What is the mean salary of all of the teachers in the Toledo, Ohio area? And in this case, I don't know. So what I did is I went and I did a survey. And in my survey, I used the confidence level of 98%. So I can come back and claim the following. I can say that I'm 98% confident that the mean, this mean of income of all teachers in the Toledo area is between $51,058, and by the way, this is dollars, to $54,282. Now, I am 98% confident. In other words, if 100 people would go and do surveys like mine, they will have a mean within my interval. In other words, the 98% of surveys will agree with me. And that is really a very high level of confidence. So that is how we find the confidence interval using or working by hand. Actually, we didn't work really by hand. We kind of cheated in here. We went in there and calculated the C using StatCrunch, or the Z critical using StatCrunch. Then after that, we did the work by hand. But there is an easy way to do the math, and that is just to use StatCrunch directly. So what if I want to use StatCrunch? To use StatCrunch, we need 3 or 4 things. Now, if one of those things is missing, then we cannot do anything about it. The first one is we need the sample mean, X bar. We need the sample size, N. In this section, we need the, by the way, I'm going to leave space in here. We need the standard deviation. And in this section, we have the population. In the next section, when we don't have the population, we substitute that with sample. But in this case, we have sigma. And the last thing that we need is the confidence level. If we know, we call it C. If we know all of those, I'll be able to find the interval very fast. Notice that. If I know all of them, I'll be able to find the interval. But if we know the N, the sigma, and the C only, then we'll be able to find those will give you the error, but they will not give you the interval. You need X bar to give the interval. And some homework problems, they only ask you for the error. They give you the N, the sigma, and the C, and ask you to find the error. This way, you can use the method we just used in here. From those, you can find the Z critical, and after that, put it into the rule, and this should give you the answer. But if all of this information is given, we'll be able to find the confidence interval. Let me go back in here and show you the example we gave here. The example we gave here, okay, which is here. Let me make it large for you to see it. In this example, if we look carefully, X bar is given. It is there. N is given, which is 50. Sigma is given, and C is given. So all of those things are given. Therefore, we should be able to use StatCrunch to find the answer. So now, how do I use StatCrunch to find the answer? How do I use StatCrunch to find the interval? To find the interval using StatCrunch, you're going to follow those steps. Stat, Z stats, and one sample with summary. And when you get to this point, you will be asked to fill the 3 things. You ask to fill X bar, which is a sample mean, the sigma, which is a standard deviation, N, which is the size. So you're going to fill those. Then after that, you're going to have 2 circles to choose from. We're going to go to the last one here, which is the confidence level. And we fill the level as given in the problem. So let me go here to the problem that we have. and see exactly how we find the interval. I'm going to open StatCrunch right now. So, and with StatCrunch, we'll be able to do everything. So close this, go back to the problem, and let me take my steps up. This way you can see what I'm talking about here. If you want to find the interval, you follow those steps. The first step is, again, you press the stat key. Then after that, you go down to ZStat. I'm at ZStat now. Then you're going to go to one sample. Here's one sample. Then you're going to go to with summary, and here's summary. Notice usually they are open to the right, but because the window is resized, in this case, they just open left and right. But when you hit the summary, now try to fill in the sample mean, the standard deviation, the sample size, and you go down to this box or circle and you fill the level. Let me go back into my problem and see exactly what I have. Here's what I have. Here's my problem. The sample mean is given to be 52,670. So I'm going to try to fill in 52,670. That is my sample mean. Now the sample standard or the standard deviation in this case, which is the sigma given in this case, is 4,900. So we type 4,900. The sample size in this case is 50. We just put the 50. And then we go down to the level and we just change that to 98% because in the problem, and you can see it in here, it is 98%. Now, when you do all of this and you hit compute, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get those, I highlighted those in here. You're going to get left limit and right limit. So let me just move this slightly to the right and just go down in here and try to compare our work. So did we get the same answer? Notice in here, this is what we get by hand. This work in here. Now, this is what StatCrunch is giving me. StatCrunch is giving me this, 51057.923, comma, and 54,482.077. Notice that what StatCrunch is giving me is almost the same as what I did by hand. Actually, what I did by hand is rounded. StatCrunch is not rounded. So this is how beautiful StatCrunch is. It will allow me to do things that is usually hard to do without StatCrunch. Now, I'm going to stop here and ask you if you have any questions for me. Any questions, concerns?
So if we're using StatCrunch, do we not actually need to figure out the z-critical first?
Yes. Yes, you don't need to. The good thing about StatCrunch, as you notice in here when we did the problem, when we do StatCrunch, we really don't ask or we don't try to give StatCrunch any help. StatCrunch will take the information from front to end. Now, what StatCrunch will do, it really is going to calculate the z-critical, but it's not going to give it to you. Usually in the program, when the program is written for StatCrunch, StatCrunch is going to find z-critical first. Then it's going to go put z-critical into the error equation. Then it's going to put the error equation into x bar minus the error and x bar plus the error and give the answer. So this is a full program. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see what is running in the background, but it's going to be all done using StatCrunch. So that's the reason why we call StatCrunch a magical thing, because you don't have to interfere. Just put those four, just you go ahead and here, and you're going to put those four quantities there, okay, that I circled there. Just put them in, and StatCrunch will do the rest for you. Is that okay? But notice, StatCrunch will not be able to give you the interval if one of those four things is missing. You have to have all four things. And actually, by hand, you cannot even get the interval unless those four things are given. So you have to know all four to be able to get the interval. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Could you please show one more time how you got it through StatCrunch?
Sure. You know, let me give you another example. Is that okay? So let's throw this another example. Here, another example. What do you want the example to be about? Anything. Just say something. Like we want to estimate the mean of, let's say, mean income, mean age, mean distance, mean heartbeat, mean temperature. Let's say temperature, since everybody's talking about temperature these days. Okay? Now, not the temperature of the weather, but the temperature of people. So let's say that you have to deal with patients or something like that. And what is the average temperature of somebody who's suffering or feeling sick and they think they suspect that it's the coronavirus, let's say. Okay, so we don't know really, because we have to measure the temperature of every patient who suspects that they have the virus. And that's not a possible thing. So what we do is we can do a sample. So let's say that we ran a sample and we tested, let's say, 100 people. And those 100 people showed an average temperature of 90, let's say 9.8. By the way, anything above 99 is considered, suspicious these days. Now, it doesn't mean that anybody with 99, above 99 is ill, but that's a suspicious thing. And now hospitals probably, when they measure temperature of people, if it's above 99, they don't allow them in the hospital to visit or something like that. Now, the third thing is, let's assume that the sigma is, let's say, it's 0.5. Okay, and let's assume that we want to build an interval with some confidence. Which confidence you want? I'll let somebody suggest this.
97%.
97%. By the way, that's one of the problems of your book. If you try to rely on the book and try to find the answer from the book, there are tables. I'm not sure if anybody tried to use the tables, but the tables don't have 97% in there. The tables have only 95, 99, some, like just certain C's. So, but with StatCrunch, you can use any C you want. You can just say, oh, I want 97.5, I want 93, I want 92, I want 987, any level you can work with. So how can I build an interval using StatCrunch? To use StatCrunch, I'm going to rewrite the steps in here. You're going to go to Stat, then Z Stats. And why Z Stats? This is the reason. We use Z Stats when sigma is known. Now, if sigma is not known, we're going to use a T stat. So we're going to use Z Stat. Then after that, we're going to go to one sample. And why one sample? You don't have to worry about this, but one sample is because we are only dealing with temperature. Let's say that I want to measure the temperature of people and I want to measure the weight of people. Then this will become two different stories or two different samples. In your class, we worry about one sample only. And with summary. And why with summary? Because in this case, they didn't give me a list or a table of 100 different temperatures. If they give you a table with numbers in it, that's called data. In this case, they are giving me a summary. So then after that, when you get to this point, you're going to have to fill in the boxes there. And the boxes we're talking about is you're going to fill in the mean of the sample, the sigma, and the n. And then you're going to go down and you check the circle for the level of confidence, C, and you're going to fill the C. So let me just show you how we do that with StatCrunch on the side in here. Oops. This is becoming too tight of a space in there, but can you see that what I'm doing in here? Let me move this away and make this a little bit large. Can everybody see that? Comments?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So here, we go to Stat, and we drop down. Notice that we're going to drop down to Z Stat. Look at the green writing in here. We're going to go to Z Stat. Notice that we go to Z Stat when sigma is known. In the next section, we're going to go to T Stat. But now let's stick with the Z Stat. Z Stat, then one sample. Then we're going to go to, again, with summary. Now let me make this a full screen. This way you can see this better. Stat, Z Stat, You're going to run to the right, one sample, and then you're going to continue to the right with summary. And when you get in there, let me minimize this now. When you get in there, you're going to try to fill in the numbers in there. What is the first number? The first number is sample mean. Sample mean is always X bar. So it's going to be 99.8. And what is the standard deviation? Standard deviation is sigma or S, in this case sigma, which is 0.5. So we're going to put 0.5. And the size, what is the size in there? It size is how many people surveyed, which is 100. So we're going to put 100 in. And then after that, we don't do, by the way, in the next chapter, we're going to be testing hypothesis. Skip that and go down to confidence. And we put the confidence, you requested the confidence level of 97. Here is 97%. Just hit compute. And that's going to give me the interval here. So let me write this interval in here for you. Based on this, the interval I have is equal to 99. Let's go to the 10th, 99.7 to 99.9. So we can say that we are 97% confident that the average temperature, not the temperature, but average temperature of patients, of all patients, okay? I cannot test all patients, but I can claim, I can say with confidence, with 97% confidence that the mean temperature of the patients will be between 99.7 and 99.9. Okay, that is because, you know, based on my sample, the mean is 99.8, the sigma is 0.5, and the confidence level is 99. Now, if somebody asks you from here, based on your interval, if somebody asks you to calculate the error or the margin of error, so let me use M for margin of error. If somebody asks you to find the margin of error is always, again, look at this. This is the left limit, 99.7. The right limit is 99.9. And the sample mean, which is this, the sample mean in this case is 99.8. So the distance in here between the left and right is 1/10 of 1 point. And that is the error. By the way, if you go from here, it's the same as 1/10 of 1 point. By the way, 1/10 of 1 point is equivalent to, we can say the error is equivalent to like 10%. So my margin of error is 10% in this case, based on this survey. Okay. So this is how we find, again, if I have if StatCrunch can give me the interval, you can write the interval like this, or you can write the interval like this if you want to. You can say it is 99.7, comma 99.9. So you can write the interval like this, or you can write it on a line, and you can find the margin of error from the interval. But again, StatCrunch will give you the interval, and you can do whatever you want beyond that. Okay, so anything else? Any questions, concerns? Now, I'm sure you are wondering right now, can I access this lecture later on in case? And the answer will be yes, but there is yes with the catch in here. As you see in here, I'm recording the lecture. The lecture will be recorded, and it depends on the demand, not in here, but this is based on Blackboard and Blackboard Ultra. Usually it takes between 2 to 3 hours to upload the lecture into the recorded area, and it's beyond my control. It's going to upload on its own. So I noticed that in the past that it took a couple of hours to upload. Any other questions? Again, I want to reemphasize one thing I said earlier in case some of you join me later on. Attendance, and again, this is an update to the update to the update to the update. Attendance is not required to the live lectures. I understand that you guys altered so much in your life. Some of you accepted certain jobs, changed their schedule, babysitting issues, whatever the reason is. And I'm not going to penalize you for not attending. So if you like to attend the live lecture, it is great. And if you cannot attend the live lecture, you should know that the live lecture is recorded for you to view at a later time. I would love to see you. I mean, to have you in the live lecture, but if you can make it, that is fine.
Thank
So
you.
there is no penalty. I'm sorry?
I
Say
have a
something.
question. On the homework, what number, like question 1 to what is covered for 6.1 and 6.2? Just so I know which like we're able to do at this point.
Ah, boy, I don't know really, but let me click on the homework and see exactly something in here. And another thing I want to mention, thank you for asking the question. I'm going to try maybe later on tonight, tomorrow, whatever it is, I'm going to try to do every single problem in the homework and record the video and post that video also. So this way, when you go to do the homework, you'll be able to find the problem. Let's say number 1, and this is how we do it. Number 2, and this is how we do it. So one way, can you see my, okay, I think there is a, can you see my window?
Yes.
Okay, I think for some reason, my window, okay, I need to log in, sorry.
You're good.
It is sometimes, maybe I don't need to. Yeah, it took me directly. So I'm going to open the assignments and I'm going to show you something. Maybe this will be beneficial to you. I'm going to go to the homework, and if it doesn't open, yeah, it did open. So I'm going to open the homework. I'm going to show you something. Look up to the homework. Do you see where I'm pointing to right now? 6.15. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yes. Again, it's hard to write because it won't allow me to write on this window, but I'm pointing to 6.1. 6 is the chapter. 1 is the section. So 1 tells you it's from section 1. Okay, so this first one is section 1. If you continue to the next one, it's still section 1. To the one after, it's still section 1. You see, so you keep going. I'm going right now all the way. It's still section 1. Okay, so all of those problems are section 1. Now, it seems like up to number 11 is section 1. See,
Okay.
when I get to number 12, it moved to section 2. See that?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Just
No, it's okay.
so long.
It's so long. I understand it's so long. You know what?
The homework looks like.
Honestly, it's in the last so many days, I was always recording lectures, but I lost track of days and dates. So that's the reason why when I sent the email, I said Monday, March 31st.
Yeah.
And every morning I get up, I look at my phone to remember what day it is, because life is messed up now. Hopefully it will be over soon. But
Thank you.
you're welcome. And so as I said before, I will be able to put those solutions for you in case somebody, but I do recommend people will go in there and look at all the lectures and all the recorded lectures, because I want people to understand. I don't want somebody to get 100% on the homework, then you go to the test and they don't get well. Because if you are one of those who will get 100 on the homework and not a very high grade or score on the test, is because probably you were, trying the problem so many times and it's going to work finally, but on the test is only one attempt. And I'm going to try to find ways for you guys to get some extra credit. So besides dropping the lowest test score, and there is one other thing I mentioned, maybe you didn't notice, maybe you did notice, is that I mentioned that there will be no homework 8 and test 8. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're gonna do in here is because we lost a week or so, we're not gonna be covering the last chapter. And as a result, you'll have 7 tests. I'm gonna drop the lowest test score. That is the first offer that I'm gonna have for you, is to drop the lowest test score. So actually, I'm gonna try to make more effort and work harder to provide you with more information than if I am in a classroom. So I'm going to try to do those recorded lectures, live lectures, and I'm going to record the solutions to the homework. So hopefully that'll be good enough for everybody.
Thank you, Professor.
No problem.
Thank you.
That's what we should do, really. And again, I wish this class, didn't switch to online, but as you know, as you can see, that sometimes it's very hard to adjust, but hopefully the adjustment is good. So what do you think of this live lecture so far, or this style of live lectures so far? Here's what you can do. You can say it now, or you can email me and say, can you please change this, do that? Because I always look for your feedback.
I like
Because,
that. It's helpful.
I'm sorry. Here's one thing I'm going to ask some of you to do. I want the ones who don't want to talk to turn their microphone off. This way, we don't hear the echo. You noticed probably in a minute or a few seconds ago, some people tried to talk and we cannot hear them. So, and please, whoever wants to speak, go ahead. Somebody was trying.
I do like this live lecture. I think it's helpful.
Okay, I'm glad it is. Okay, so some are writing their thoughts and some are speaking their thoughts. That's great. And I'm glad it is working. And let me know what you think. Any other thoughts? No thoughts? No comments? Concerns? Thank you. I thought you say you are nice, Celia. But it is nice also good. I was kidding. Thank you. But anyhow, I'm gonna share my video for the last couple of minutes in here. This way you can see who was talking to you. So anything else? Because I'm gonna stop today at this point. But anybody with any concerns, questions? Okay, so this is again what we're gonna do to confirm. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we're gonna hold the lecture during the scheduled lecture time, which is whatever it is for you. If some of you, if you are from the 9:30 class, then 9:30 to 10:45. From the 11, then 11 to 12:15. I will be sending a link to your email, so you can check the link the same day on Monday or Wednesday, like half an hour before class or something like that, and you can join us like today. If you have concerns, questions about your technology, microphone is not working, or any issues that you may have, we will work around that. Make sure you check your videos, the recorded videos after the lecture. They are not very long. The longest one is the one live lecture, but the other one's only like 5 to 10, 15 minutes maximum. And I'm gonna record do the homework and record it. So this way, when we meet on Wednesday, okay, if you have any questions, you can still ask. You don't have to attend the live lectures, but if you attend the live lectures, you'll have the chance to ask as many questions as you like. You can take as much time as you like. If that's it, then we're gonna leave the lecture, and you feel free to leave now. And anybody wants to stick around and talk more, I still have some time, so we can talk. Thank you, and you have a great day. Oh, by the way, some of you don't know how to leave the lecture, so let me show you how you can leave the lecture. To leave the lecture, you click on the arrow in the bottom there where is the green check, And then you see in there it says leave session. That's how you leave the session. Okay, so when you click in there, it will allow you to leave the session. Now, if you want to stick around, leave me a note and I can stick around and I can answer your concern or question. Again, if you want to leave the session, click on here, that green check, and click on leave the session. That's there. Any questions, concerns? Because I'm going to leave also. Calling once, calling twice, calling 3 times. Again, if you want to write a comment, this is where you click and write your comment and hit enter. Okay. Everybody, you have a good day.